I grew up in the building industry working for my dad, had a family building company, and I had been in the process of kind of taking over it. I knew that I couldn't do it alone, and Nick was a good friend of mine. Didn't have a lot of building experience, but a very talented person. We brought him on as my partner, and so we had a lot of work to start out with, having already had the established brand from my father's company, and we wanted to expand that a little bit. So we took on some custom jobs, and my father's company specialized in active adult communities, so 55 and older, and we would do our own development. And with the custom ones, we were really struggling with our pricing. We would think that we'd bid it out, and we'd come to the end of the job, and we'd be making, maybe $10,000 on a job that cost $300,000 to build. And so we were struggling with our pricing. We were, a lot lower margins than we were expecting. We were supposed to be getting, cash flow was tough. We knew that there were people out there being successful in building, and we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. So I first came across the APB with a couple different of the kind of the smaller products, and we actually signed up for the APB membership, and I went through a lot of the classes. Just realized it was really good content, a way for us to systematize our processes and bring value to the business. And ultimately that led to joining the coaching program, because I think accountability is a really big issue that business leaders have, and to have a third party accountable, or a third party accountability partner makes it so it's easier to push yourself, and somebody to bring up those hard topics, things that you need to focus on that you've let kind of go by the wayside, and they bring it up again and bring up that tough conversation to make sure you're moving in the right direction. And that's some of the main reasons we joined the APB, was to improve our margins, systematize things, and have that accountability and not reinventing the wheel. One of the first things that we did is we looked at our accounting. We were able to go through with our coach Andy, our accounting, and figure out why our reports weren't accurate, and we were able to fix our accounting systems so that we're able to quickly pull reports. That was a big problem. One of the reasons we had low margins on the jobs, it was because we'd ask, how much are we making? We'd pull a report, and then it start asking questions. Well, what about this? What about this? And the reports were just inaccurate. So the first thing that we really focused on with Andy was to improve our accounting, and we got that down so we can pull reports quickly, so we can monitor the jobs on a regular basis. The second thing that we did, and probably one of the most valuable things to me, was the pricing for profit training, making sure that we were accounting for our overhead, which was something that we were not doing at all when it came to pricing jobs. We had no idea how to divide overhead across jobs throughout the year and projecting what that would be so that we could continue to grow. So using that pricing for profit and our KPI spreadsheet to understand what our overhead numbers were and make sure those got added to our pricing just helped increase our net profit on our jobs. Last year, some of our jobs, like I said, were bringing in 2 or 3%, and now we're trending upwards. We're more at 8 and 9%, and working our way to getting up to hopefully 15 is our target, but we're definitely trending in the right direction as a result of those things. The last solution or outcome that I think for me did really well was just the accountability. We had somebody that we answer to on a regular basis to remind us of what our goals are and how we had planned to move forward in that direction, and then holding us accountable to the things that we said that we wanted to do. I think it's been pretty good as far as clarity goes. I mean, there's a pretty good roadmap on the website that we can refer to. We definitely adapted the kind of schedule of content based on what our actual needs were, especially where we were kind of running an already established building company. We didn't necessarily need so much help implementing the marketing strategy as we did understanding our pricing and then understanding how to bring on team members and that. So we definitely adapted the schedule that was in there. But I think the order that it is there makes a lot of sense, and understanding who you're targeting, who your audience is, who needs to have the best experience while they're going through the process is just affects all of the decisions down the road. So it is good to have gone through a lot of those things, asked a lot of questions about marketing and who our customer is, our ideal customer. Helps set the stage for making decisions in other areas of the business. So we've done a lot of adaptation in that process, or since we started with APB. So when we started, Nick was going to manage the financial side, and I was managing the project management side because that's where my expertise were. And then as we got busy, we decided Nick could take on a few projects himself. That was something he wanted to try out. So he started doing project management and the finance while I was doing the majority of the project management and then all of the sales. And these are things that we worked on with Andy, is like, what are our core responsibilities? What do we ultimately want to be doing? And after Nick working in projects, he did 4 houses he managed. He ultimately decided that he really did not have the time he needed to do the project management, and he has then switched back into doing almost fully the financial part, keeping the books, paying the bills, all that stuff. And then he's also been working on land entitlement for future projects, working with the cities to get land through that. So, and I've stayed in project management until recently. We hired a new project manager, and I've gone fully into the marketing and sales. Being with the APB has definitely helped Nick and I meet on a more regular basis to discuss strategy. We still don't do it as much as our coach would like us to, but we definitely do it way more often. We meet a few times a month and sit, and a lot of the time it's informal, and some of them are scheduled, but we definitely discuss our strategy, how we want the company culture to be, how we can improve the customer experience. But it's definitely taken some trial and error to figure out where we are most valuable in the work that we can be doing, and delegating tasks to each other that sit inside those realms, and figuring out who we need to hire next to offload tasks that we don't enjoy doing. For me, I mentioned it before, but it's really that pricing for profit training that we went through, understanding what our overheads are, making sure that gets added into our pricing model, and also, projecting what the company is going to look like in a few years, or even at the end of the year, so we know, okay, our overhead is actually going to grow by quite a bit. I think this year we'll have doubled our overhead, and without projecting that, we would not have been pricing our jobs correctly to increase our profit on these upcoming jobs that we have. We definitely would have missed a lot of that money that we need to be making to actually continue to grow the company healthily. For me, the most valuable has been the pricing for profit training and the spreadsheet that's in the KPI to help us price those jobs. Kind of when we were just starting with the APB and figuring out where our pricing should have been, we had some old jobs that we had to get through the system before we could really implement our new pricing. And on those jobs, our margins were low enough that we were getting to the point where we were getting behind on our cash flow. So we were taking money from the next job to pay for the last job, and that was really scary to be in that position. We wanted to get out of that as soon as possible. Just understanding those numbers helped us do that, to help us price those future jobs so that we can always stay ahead of our payables, that we're not so reliant on that next job to pay for the last one. And it's been amazing talking to other contractors how many people are in that position. You know, if the market ever turns, which it has before, and we've seen companies go out of business as a result of this, you know, you got to be able to make sure the money's in the right place for the right job, and paying those on a regular basis. In some areas, we definitely had some pushback. We had been working with one client in particular. We had designed plans with them, and we'd kind of been figuring out, okay, our pricing that we had was just not accurate. You know, we weren't where we needed to be to make it worth it to even take on the job. And we kind of had a price in our heads of, you know, how much per square foot roughly this plan was going to be. So we designed a plan. Okay, they have a budget of, you know, $600,000. We designed a plan that met those square footage amounts to calculate up to being in their budget. Then we realized, you know, it's actually an extra $20 per foot to build this than we originally had started talking about. And they actually left for a while. They started working with another builder. We were just really upfront with them, honest about it. It's like, hey, we made mistakes. We realized our pricing's way off. You know, we can't even build it for what we thought, what we told you. They ended up coming back to us. I'm not saying everyone that we were working with that got scared off by our newer, higher prices has come back, but this couple has, just because of how open we were with our pricing and just saying, hey, you know, here are the numbers. You know, these are actual bids from people, you know, these are our costs. And we were just really upfront with them, and they gained trust in that way, even though they did go off and try and find a better price from somebody. I think being honest and open with people when you make those mistakes, it definitely helps build their trust. Now, at this point, I'm very confident what it costs to build, and I'm able to express that to people. And I think it's, you know, even though it is an expensive time to build a home, they gain trust from other areas when they go into our homes and see how well they're built, and to hear from past customers how good of an experience it was and how they liked working with us. It also was a challenge for me to tell people that, oh, you know, we were priced at this, because I had never experienced that price or never realized it was that price in time, you know. So it was a challenge for me too, to say to people how much it is to build. It's been a lot better, but even now still, it's like, still make mistakes in the estimating. And I mean, we feel like we will have greater long-term gains than short-term profits. If we made a mistake, we're not going back to the owner and saying, oh, here's a change order because of our mistake. It's just, we're sticking with the price that we promised them. And, you know, even on those jobs we bid wrong, we did that, and we, you know, ate a bunch of costs in the hopes that our long-term reputation will benefit from that we stuck to our word. I would definitely recommend the Builders Mentoring Program to other builders, because there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. Every dollar we've spent on the coaching has paid itself back multiple times over. I mean, our sales have grown, but our margin on those sales has also grown. And that's definitely a direct result of the training that we've received. There's just no reason to kind of fight this battle by yourself. Just get as much support as possible, get experts involved, and use everything that they teach you.